Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And last night, the New Jersey Devils back at the Rock, taking on the Anaheim Ducks, looking to avoid a 5-game losing streak. That's right, my friends. Our beloved New Jersey Devils headed into the game against the Ducks on a 4-game losing streak, most recently losing 4-3 in overtime to the Islanders, and they desperately needed this one. Oh, did they need this one as close to a must-win game in October as possible. And did the boys deliver? Your New Jersey Devils went out last night and put a smackdown on the Anaheim Ducks, winning by a score of 6-2. Much to my delight, before the game we see, there is no lineup changes, and Kurtis MacDermid, the toughest man in the National, is in the lineup once again, and props to Sheldon Keefe for realizing that Kurtis MacDermid brings the heavier, edgier, more violent motto in spades. No one does it at the level Kurtis MacDermid can do. We saw in the Islander game in very, very limited ice time. He had a beautiful, devastating hit on Romanov, a helmet popper special, knocked his helmet off. He was bleeding out of his mouth. Then Mayfield came over and wanted to fight MacDermid. MacDermid fought him. In under 3 minutes of ice time, Kurtis MacDermid electrified the New Jersey Devils, and they did play well enough to win that Islanders game. Unfortunately, they couldn't get it done. It was a good game, decent effort by them. Not enough to get the win, but Kurtis MacDermid obviously did his job and did it very well in that game. Keefe recognizes it. He's in the lineup again for the Ducks. And what do you know? At 2:13, Kurtis MacDermid and Ross Johnston, two big boys, both listed at 6'5". MacDermid listed at 233 pounds. Johnston listed at 232 pounds. This is as close as it gets. This is nearly 13 feet and 500 pounds combined of two absolute grizzly bears going at it. A beautiful scrap. I clearly give MacDermid the victory in this one, but Johnston was no slouch by any stretch. He stood in there, held his own, landed a couple punches as well. But a beautiful tilt early on in the game from Kurtis MacDermid and Johnston, and the arena was electrified. I was going nuts. I actually have a video of the in-arena footage of the fight on the channel. Check that out. I posted it yesterday. Beautiful scrap. And I love Kurtis MacDermid. There's not much more I can say. It's well documented on this channel. I am a massive Kurtis MacDermid fan. And after what we saw in the Tampa Bay game with Bratt getting trucked and really no response, and then that Detroit game got a little chippy for my liking. There was an incident with Jack Hughes and Rasmussen with the empty net goal. That was kind of a thing to me. It left a bad taste in my mouth, and I was immediately calling for MacDermid to play against the Islanders. He did. We saw what he did there. Back in the lineup tonight. Love the move by Keefe. Love Kurtis MacDermid. And at 4:47, Brock McGinn breaks the 0-0 tie, and my heart sank. Stefan Noesen takes a wild shot off the glass. It heads the other way. Terry skates it in. He drops it back to McGinn, and it looked like a routine shot, and it just goes by Markstrom. I don't know what exactly happened there. Markstrom was deep in the net. I don't think he anticipated the shot that early. Whatever it was, it looked like a pretty bad goal. But McGinn gives them the 1-0 lead at 4:47. I was at the game. Shout out to my buddy Brian for inviting me to the game. We had a great time. We saw a great New Jersey Devils win. But at the time they score, it's 1-0. I have a pit in my stomach, and I looked at Brian, and I was like, I just don't know how I feel about this. The Devils didn't look great for probably about the first half or so of the first period. Then they kind of started coming on, and they were getting the better chances and more shots. I think they had 17 shots in the first period. None of them were spectacular, but they were getting some decent scoring chances. Couldn't get anything past Reimer. And after one period, it was 1-0, and I did feel like it was going to be one of those nights where the New Jersey Devils made a backup goaltender look like Patrick Waugh or the great Martin Brodeur in their prime. The Devils have a history of doing this. It seems to happen quite often. A few games back, they made Talbot look like Superman in Detroit, and I thought this was going to be another one of those nights. Ducks up 1-0 after 1, but I was like, all right, we have 40 minutes. Let's see if the boys could rally here. We really need this win before the Western Canada road trip. We head to the second period, and at 1:16 on the delayed penalty with the extra attacker, Nico comes up the wing. He gets it to Mercer. Mercer does an insane kind of behind-the-back backhand pass to Timo. Timo one-touches it to Jack. Jack tries to shoot. He doesn't really get the shot off. The puck kind of slides towards the net. Jack stays with it, and he just backhands it in. And Jack Hughes, with his third of the year from Timo Meier and Dawson Mercer, ties the game at 1 at 1:16, and the arena comes to life. Arena absolutely comes to life. I'm sure Jack was feeling good, looking to get going on the season. A little bit of a slow start. Jack gets his third, game tied up at 1. And then at 4:42, Stefan Noesen sets up Haller for a really nice shot. Reimer makes the save. Devils control the rebound. It gets to Kovacevic at the point. Noesen breaks towards the net, and Johnny Kovacevic hits him, breaking to the net, and Noesen puts it in the back of the net for his fourth of the season, giving the Devils a 2-1 lead. Noesen from Kovacevic and Siegenthaler, and Stefan Noesen is an absolute dog. You guys know I love him. I was pumped when we signed him. He is just an animal. Goes to the net, hits guys, gets in their face. He is a warrior and definitely heavier, edgier, more violent. Love that man. Noesen gets his fourth, giving the Devils the lead. And then at 17:23, Devils controlling the puck down low on the power play. Noesen breaks to the net, gets positioned right in front, and Bratt feeds him. And Noesen pops it right over Reimer for his second of the game. Fifth on the season, assisted by Bratt and Dougie Hamilton, giving the Devils the 3-1 lead. And now Noesen has 2 goals in a row. And I thought for a minute, I was getting ready. You guys know my rules about hats and hat tricks. I was getting loose. I started stretching out, making sure that I was in good form. I was about 13th row or so center ice, and I was thinking in my head, can I just straight up frisbee toss this onto the ice if this happens? Do I have to squeeze out, to get to the aisle and then go down a couple steps and then launch it? But I was feeling pretty confident that if I got the proper lift on it, I was going to be able to hit the ice from where I was. Unfortunately, it wasn't in the cards for Stefan Noesen, but boy, oh boy, did I want to see that hat trick and launch this hat so badly. Even though I love this hat, I wanted to throw it on the ice. But Noesen gets his 5th at 17:23, giving the Devils the 3-1 lead. And then about a minute and 26 seconds later at 18:49, Devils controlling in the offensive zone. Mercer, with some beautiful moves, drives the net and takes a backhand shot that hits Kurtis in front and comes right to Paul Cotter, who buries it.
Paulie! Yo, Paulie! Hey, yo, Paulie!
Paul Cotter with his 6th on the season from Dawson Mercer and Siegenthaler at 18:49, giving the Devils the 4-1 lead. And what can I say about Paul Cotter? Again, quickly becoming one of my favorite players on this New Jersey Devils team. We got him from Vegas in the summer. I was a little stunned with the return, as were many of you. Holtz and Schmid go the other way. And this deal is looking like highway robbery for Fitzy. And shout out to Fitzy for having the foresight to see what Paul Cotter was going to do this year for the boys. Man, I apologize to Paul Cotter, and I continue to do so. I predicted in my preseason predictions video that he would have 41 points on the season. He's looking like he is going to trample that, and you love to see it. Paul Cotter, another guy with that junkyard dog in him, goes to the dirty areas, hits guys. Just an absolute throwback type hockey player with a high level of skill, great shot, great hands, great vision of the ice, always gets to the right spot, and he does it here again, giving the Devils the 4-1 lead, and that is how it ends after 2. And now I'm excited. I'm in the Hyundai Club. I'm eating after the second period. That's usually my dessert hour. I usually graze on regular types of food from before the game and throughout the first 2 periods. So whether that's chicken fingers, French fries, all kinds of stuff they got in there. I usually eat a bunch of that carving station, potatoes, macaroni salad. I usually eat all the real food, if you will, for the first 2 periods. And then after the second period, that's when I transition. That's the dessert hour. So I checked out a bunch of the different pastries they have on the table there. Got some of the chocolate and vanilla swirl ice cream. And life is good. We're up 4-1. We're 20 minutes away from breaking this god-awful losing streak. And I'm just stuffing my face. Life is grand. And we head to the third period at 150. Dougie hits Nico with the long stretch pass. He's breaking into the zone. He flies to the net. There's a defender kind of draped on his back, and he just rips it past Reimer for his league-leading 9th goal.
He's pretty, and he lives in Jersey City. Number 13, Nico Hischier.
Nico Hischier. 9th goal of the year, giving the Devils the 5-1 lead on the beautiful assist from Dougie Hamilton. And what can I say about the captain? Oh, captain, my captain, Nico Hischier, starting off this season on an absolute tear, looking like one of the best players in the league. I've believed he was a great player for the past several years now, but it seems like with this offensive explosion we're seeing from him this season, he's really going to turn a lot of heads, and I think he's going to start to finally get the credit he really deserves. Great on faceoffs, defensively responsible. Nico Hischier gives 110% night in and night out, gets beat on by the opposition regularly, takes a licking and keeps on ticking. Nico Hischier wearing the C proudly, representing the state of New Jersey and his home country of Switzerland. This man is an absolute beauty. Shout out to Nico Hischier, just looking dominant on the season. And this guy's just shooting from everywhere and just sniping shots. I mean, we've seen the offensive talent of Nico Hischier, but this year it's on a completely different level. This guy looks like he's on a mission. He looks like he's unstoppable. And I look forward to seeing how his season progresses. At this juncture, I have to believe, knock on wood, I believe he's going to get 40 goals. It would be absolutely amazing to see him get 50, but I would be shocked at this point if he didn't get 40. I think Nico's really going to pot at least 40 this year, and he's going to be in that Selke trophy conversation, guys. Hopefully he finally gets it. The leagues or the voters, whoever it is, they're going to try to default to give it to Barkov, but if Nico has some really flashy offensive numbers, it really might be his year to get that Selke trophy as Defensive Player of the Year. I could really see it, but Nico Hischier, not enough praise and adulation can be thrown his way because he is just trying to will this New Jersey Devils club to victories on a nightly basis. You'd love to see it. This man is a warrior, and I look forward to seeing how his season goes because he's on an absolute tear. Devils up 5-1 early on in the third period, and at 13-10, bad pass by Palat in the offensive zone. It gets turned over. Ducks come up the ice and make a beautiful tic-tac-toe play. Strome gets it right in front of Markstrom. He's dropped, and it's just an easy sweep around. Markstrom's just dropped, and Strome just right around him into the back of the net. Cutting the lead to 5-2 at 13-10. Beautiful play by the Ducks. I can't say it wasn't. I mean, wow, it was a really, really nice display of passing and finishing there by the Ducks. Cutting the lead to 5-2 at 13-10. That would be the last time the Ducks found the back of the net. And at 19:01, Brendan Dillon, long pass from the D zone to Palat, who just kind of one-touches it to Haula. Haula comes in all alone, beats Reimer. Giving the Devils a 6-2 lead at 19:01. Haula's 4th of the season from Palat and Dillon. That is how it ended, and your New Jersey Devils have officially snapped the 4-game losing streak. And everyone's feeling good heading into Western Canada on a 3-game road trip where we will see the 2nd annual Hughes Bowl in Vancouver where all 3 Hughes brothers will play as the Devils play the Canucks. And then we will see the Devils play the Flames and former New Jersey Devil Sharon Govich. Hopefully he doesn't light us up because I'm sure he's looking to get some revenge on us any chance he can get. And then finishing up the road trip against Connor McDavid and the Western Conference champion Edmonton Oilers. Always love to see that matchup. I always love watching McDavid. I've told you guys time and time again, Connor McDavid is a special player. He is a specimen. He is from another planet, and this guy is just something else to see. I highly recommend, if you live in an NHL market, wherever or whatever arena you live by, I highly recommend checking out Connor McDavid live because it is truly a treat. The guy is a complete freak. Love watching him play, but hopefully the Devils, put a beating on him and his Edmonton Oilers. Would love to see the Devils go 3-0 on the road trip. Obviously, that's being very greedy and asking for a lot. But after the losing streak we just were on, it would be lovely to see this win against the Ducks kind of springboard them on a nice little heater of their own because we really, really need to right the ship. And it looks like they're on the way to do that. I've told everyone it's going to take time. A lot of the doomsdayers have been out. I've talked about this for a while now. The doomsdayers are, after every loss, they were coming out in droves, coming into the post-game live I do after every game. Shout out to those of you that came into the post-game live last night. It was finally a victorious post-game live, and it was fun talking to all of you, so I appreciate you all that come out for that. And the doomsdayers were kind of in hiding because the New Jersey Devils are back in the win column. But I do think this team is in the middle of righting the ship. I really do. I thought it was going to take some time. New coach, new system, tons of new players. Maybe some of us got a little too high on the team early because of the very good start. And in the end, I'm hoping that 4-game losing streak is the low point of the season, and that's behind us now. We've started to show progress. They were in the Detroit game, and it was very winnable. A variety of things happened. Maybe if we got slightly better goaltending play, we could have won that. There's a whole bunch of things, but it's neither here nor there. At this point, the past is the past. But the Devils did not get crushed in that game. And they followed it up with a pretty good game against the Islanders where things didn't go our way as well. So the team, in my opinion, has been playing better in the last couple of games heading into the Ducks game. And then finally it all came together, and they pounded the Ducks. Now, I will say, I understand a lot of you are like, oh, the Ducks suck, we should beat them. And that is true. The Ducks are not going to be a very good team this year, and we should beat them. But that's all we could do, right? So I am very glad that the Devils beat a team they should have beat. That is a great start, and they beat them handily. The Ducks the night before gave the Rangers a pretty hard time. It wasn't the easiest win for the Rangers, and so I appreciate any win the boys can get in this league. No teams are laying down and dying for you, and it's going to be a fight. This is the NHL. The best players in the world, these are professional athletes. A lot of pride on the line, guys playing for contracts and all sorts of things. And so there's never an easy win in this league, but the Devils took care of business, did what they were supposed to do, beat that Ducks team. And now we're going to Western Canada looking to keep the good vibes going. Let's take a look at the game stats. Ducks with 26 shots on goal, Devils with 34. The Devils all over the Ducks in the faceoff circle. Devils with 61.9% of the faceoffs to 38.1% for the Ducks. Ducks 0 for 2 on the power play. Devils 1 for 1 on the power play. And it's very rare you will see the New Jersey Devils special teams were perfect. 2 power plays against, 2 successful penalty kills for the Devils. They were awarded 1 power play, and they scored on it. Perfection. Special teams were perfection. This is another thing I was looking for improvement on as the season went on. The penalty kill started off pretty hot and then kind of, showed some signs of weaknesses over the past week or so during this losing streak. Penalty kill bounces back tonight. They're perfect with 2 kills. And the power play was a little bit spotty over this losing streak as well. Some games they delivered, some games they didn't. And tonight they were perfect, 1 for 1. You love to see that. Ducks with 20 hits, Devils with 24 hits. Ducks with 13 block shots, Devils with 10 block shots. Ducks with 17 giveaways, the Devils with 13 giveaways. Ducks with 2 takeaways, and the Devils with 0 takeaways. And overall, it was a magnificent night at the Rock. Thanks again to my buddy Brian for inviting me to the game. I was going to watch this one at home because I just don't like to put myself in position for such heartbreak. And had the Devils lost and I was at the game, it's that much more depressing for me than watching at home. It sucks either way, but being there makes it sting a little bit extra. But Brian gave me that nudge. We went out. We had a great time. Like I said, stuffed my face in the Hyundai Club. So check out, there'll be some videos coming out in the next few days as well of a little vlog-style video from the game I'm going to do, as well as a Hyundai suite review. So be looking for those. I also have the Part 2 of the Goalie Mask Vault will be premiering tonight at 7 p.m. Hope to see some of you in the chat there. Really cool. My buddy Jordan has a ton of game-worn goalie masks from the New Jersey Devils over the past 20 or so years. And I recently visited his vault. And Part 1 of the video actually already dropped a couple weeks back. So I'll put the links for all this stuff in the description. So you'll see the link for Part 1, which debuted a couple weeks ago. And then Part 2 is premiering tonight at 7. Hope to see some of you in the chat there. And I got a lot of stuff in the works. I always do. It's just very time-consuming and things take some time. But I have a lot of cool stuff coming out in the upcoming weeks. Keep your eyes peeled. Put those notifications on. Obviously, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. But this team is, in fact, heavier, edgier, more violent, guys. It really is. And sometimes, it goes into regression, and then it has to pop itself back out again. But overall, this team is definitely way more heavier, edgier, more violent from last season, and they're starting to show it. Kurtis MacDermid hopefully is in the lineup way more frequently than we've seen him early on. I think he definitely brings that electricity. He's capable of delivering just devastating hits. Obviously, he'll drop the mitts. And in all fairness, he had a very solid game today. He did not have any kind of snafus or bad plays. He chipped pucks in. He chipped pucks out. He went to the net, tried to screen the goalie, was trying to get some deflections. He was out there today, and he looked pretty damn good, I have to say. There were certain games where he kind of stood out in a bad way, and people were like, this is why he doesn't play. But today he looked like he was on his A game. He was doing everything he was supposed to do, keeping it simple, chip them in, chip them out, get to the front of the net, give the defenders a little bit of the business, try to screen the goalie. If guys are throwing pucks at net, try to get a tip. And he looked really good. He looked really good. He had 13 shifts for 9 minutes and 12 seconds of playing time. Let's give it up for my man, Kurtis MacDermid. 9 minutes and 12 seconds of playing time, a beautiful scrap. And I think the boys love having this guy around. I mean, Fitzy mentioned it in the summer when we signed him. Fitzy, said how he's a great locker room presence. The guys like, his attitude, his demeanor, what he obviously brings on the ice. They feel safe. And I just think there's a kind of special effect that he has on the bench when he plays. He is just a monster of a man, and I think he just keeps everyone's spirits high. And I'm hoping we'll see him a lot more. If he continues to improve on his game a little bit, we might see him as a somewhat regular fourth liner. I don't think we're going to see him every game. But I hope to see him in a good amount of games because I think he deserves it. Sheldon Keefe mentioned a couple games back that, Kurtis MacDermid has been working really hard in practice, that he is an amazing teammate, and he wanted to reward him with some playing time, and he was thrown into the Islander game. And now with the injury to Curtis Lazar, and shout out to Curtis Lazar, another one of my favorite guys, hard-nosed, gritty type player, loves hitting guys, loves blocking shots, great personality. I think the boys love him in the locker room as well. Was injured early on in the game, and we don't really know what the injury is or what the extent of it is yet. He is expected to miss time. Hopefully not too long, but thoughts and prayers to Lazar. Hopefully Lazar doesn't miss a lot of time and he heals up quick. We don't know what it is, but we'll find out probably tomorrow in the next couple days, or maybe not. With knowing how the Devils are with injuries, they're probably just going to say, Kurtis Lazar, lower body injury week to week. That's my official prediction, actually. That's my official prediction. They're going to say it's a lower body injury and he is week to week. That's what we're going to hear tomorrow. So again, we don't know, or maybe in 2 days, but that's what they're going to say. And we don't know if that means he's going to miss, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or the extent of his injury. I'm thinking that we might see now, if they keep MacDermid in the lineup, which hopefully they do, I'd love to see him play every game on the Western road trip. Maybe they throw Bastian back in the mix, and then they might have to juggle some lines maybe to make the, because Lazar's a center, so they might have to switch some guys around. But I think there's a few guys in the lineup that could play center, so I don't know how exactly Keefe's going to construct the lines, but I believe Bastian has a good chance of coming back if they leave MacDermid in, or, maybe they bring someone else up. I think there's several guys in Utica that could contribute at the NHL level. Maybe Shane Bowers, who is a center, or possibly Nolan Foote, or maybe Hallinan. I think the Devils have some options. It's just going to come down to how Keefe wants to play the lines with who's going to center that fourth line. So that'll be interesting to see how that develops. I'm hoping MacDermid stays in the lineup for sure. You guys know I love that man, and you saw what he's done in these past few games. No one else is bringing that, and I think that's an element the Devils desperately need, and I hope he's in a lot of games. I really do. But will be interesting to see, who comes in for Lazar, and if MacDermid does remain in, that leaves one spot. So again, there's a bunch of guys that could potentially get the call for this road trip, and it'll be interesting to see how Keefe, manages these lines and who's going to emerge as the fourth line center and whatever else. So all interesting stuff to keep an eye on. But let me know what you thought about anything I said in this video in the comments. Let me know what you thought about this game. Let me know what you think about the upcoming trip to Canada. Anything, everything New Jersey Devils hockey, throw it out there in the comments. I am super jacked after this win. The boys needed this desperately. And hopefully these good feelings just carry on into Western Canada and they continue to do the damn thing. Hopefully Markstrom gets on top of his game soon. And hopefully this whole team just starts to gel as a cohesive unit under Sheldon Keefe. and we become the hockey club that I believe they can be, because I do think Fitz went out and really improved this roster this offseason, and you've already seen the massive contributions from a lot of the new players. I mean, Johnny Kovacevic, what a breakout story for him, right? They've all said it. Key, Fitz, everyone. He was the 7th defenseman coming into camp. He had an outstanding camp, an outstanding preseason. With the injuries to Pesce and Luke, the door was open, and he ran through it and never looked back. And he ultimately forced Nemitz out of the lineup. I mean, Fitz robbed this man. 4th-round pick. Shout out to Johnny Kovacevic, one of the great plot lines of the season, as well as some of the other new additions in Stefan Noesen and Paul Cotter. I mean, these guys are contributing almost on a nightly basis. The new additions have really just been stellar for the Devils thus far. I don't know where we would be without them. I mean, we obviously had this little struggle with the 4-game losing streak, but before that, we had a decent record before it all kind of fell apart temporarily, and that was largely in part because of the play of Cotter and Noesen and Kovacevic. I mean, wow, what great additions. But all right, guys, I'm all fired up. Anything, everything Devils, throw it out there in the comments. I'll be back soon. Tons of stuff coming. Put the notifications on. Subscribe, like, double like. Tell your mother, tell your sister, share with your friend. And I'll be back soon. So much stuff going on. Super pumped for this win. I'm probably more excited than I should be, but we really, really needed this. The boys got it done. Can't wait for the next game. Can't wait for the road trip. I will talk to you all soon. I love you all. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go.